Okay, so I'm told we got Wolf, and we do. There he is. Wolf,
Yes,
how
you
you
do.
doing, man?
Doing good, man. How you doing? Good to see
Good,
you.
good to see you. Yeah, man. Congrats on the album, man. Sounds great. Album number 3, The End.
Yeah.
Do you when you put out an album, are you a guy that watches and hears what people say or looks at comments or reads reviews, or you tune it out?
I can't do that anymore.
Well, you used to mix it up online a little bit.
Yeah, but I've taken a step back, man. It's nice and it's wonderful for the mental health to just kind of, live in your own world and disconnect for a little bit. I think a good metric, is just, hey, if people are coming to see us, and I get messages and people are enjoying it. It's like that's cool. That's nice. I like that.
So, just for clarity, on social media, do you still do it yourself, and do you still
Oh
make
yeah.
posts? You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely.
You just don't go. You just go. Don't go down the comment rabbit hole.
I mean, if there's a ripe fruit, I'll be happy to pick it. But, I'm not getting in there to get crazy like I used to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I used to love that you used to fire back a little bit. That was the yeah. People need to do. I used to do that, man. I used to get so down that road sometimes. And I agree with you. A long time ago, I was just like, you know what? I make my posts. I say what I say, and I move on. Pro or con. I don't look. And the other
Yeah.
problem you have right now is there's so much fake shit out there and so much
A lot of
made up stuff.
bots, a lot of AI stuff. It's easy. It makes it even easier to just disconnect.
Yeah, yeah. It's a shame though because it is fun to talk to your fans, but sometimes you just gotta,
Sure.
like you said, for your own well being, you gotta kind
Yeah.
of disconnect a little bit. So tell me about making this record. There's the old adage, artists have their whole life to make their first record. You're sitting on all those songs. And then there's the concern about the sophomore slump. Oh, what do I do for the second record? Clearly, that wasn't a problem for you. Now, 2 records under your belt going into the third record. What was your mindset? How did the material come to you? And what did you want to try to set out to accomplish?
I think it was about just finding how we could mix it up and how we could improve the situation a bit. And I think we found that through the demoing process. Normally, I just do stuff on my laptop, on just Logic, just so I can hear the idea. But this time, we had the studio up and ready early enough that we did the demoing that way, as live as possible as it could be with just one dude. So I had Jeff, our engineer, I'd ask him to put the click at a certain tempo. I'd play guitar to it for a little bit, and then I'd run out there and play drums to that, come back in and play bass to that, and be like, okay, where do we go from here? It was like putting a puzzle together. So it was like actively writing with myself in the studio. It was pretty fun. And I think, that allowed me to take a lot of chances. You're able to quickly tell if something was working or not. So I think you could throw stuff at the wall, and I think that's how songs like "One of a Kind" and even "The End" came to be. It's like, hey, I have this tapping thing. What if we make a whole song about it? And it just kind of happens.
So I'm having a visual that you doing that was almost like the video for the spell.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Right, right. For people who haven't seen that video, you're playing you are yourself in every position in the
Yeah,
band.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that when you write as a songwriter? Because for people, I think most people know this by now, but for those that don't, Wolf does everything on his records, plays all the instruments, sings everything, does them himself, writes. What is your writing process? Are you a guy that like banks stuff, or do you just, okay, I'm going to make my third record, I'm going to lock out the world and write this record? How does it work for you?
It depends. It's actually a bit of both. I think every time I step up to the plate to do another record, you end up writing 10 to 15 new ideas at the time. But then you also have ideas that kind of fell by the wayside from past records that you still want to work on that you just didn't have the chance to finish. So you just kind of create this personal, little bag of ideas that you can just kind of go through and see what inspires you the most in the moment. And that's what happened with this one. There may be, 3 or 4 extra ideas that didn't make the record. And then there were some older ones that, you breathe new life into, and it feels like it's finally ready, I guess.
You've worked in pretty much the same way, with the exception of the way you told me you demoed stuff. But you've worked with Elvis as your producer. You've done everything the same way, pretty much doing everything yourself on these three records that you've made so far. Do you obviously you like working like that? But is there a side of you that somewhere down the line in your career might want to change some of that stuff up?
Who knows? Yeah, right now, no. But if you ask me 10 years from now, I might be like, man, I don't feel like playing drums anymore. My back hurts. So it's like it's really just a matter of how I'm feeling. Right now, I get the most creative fulfillment from doing it this way. It's what Mammoth has been since the beginning, and I enjoy it. And I think that's a lot of what makes Mammoth Mammoth. So it's a fun sort of creative exercise to view the perspective of the song from each instrument and do that. I just it's something I really enjoy. So I don't see me changing that anytime soon.
And there are some other artists that have done it, and I've talked to them about their process in doing it. For you, if you can, take the audience through the process on how you stack it. You've told me in the past that your favorite thing to play is actually drums, right? That's your favorite instrument.
Started there when I was 9, and it's I think I attack everything from a drummer's perspective. I think I'm a very rhythmic, from the way I tap to the way I write riffs. It's all from a very rhythmic perspective, and I think that's because I'm a drummer first. But yeah, when it comes to recording, we'll have the demos, and then I play the drums to the demos. And then, you kind of replace each part as you go. We do the drums, then we do the bass, then we do the rhythm guitars, and then I write the vocals and the guitar solos. Then we get back, and then we record all of that, and then you got a record.
Was there a drummer for you growing up that was or a few of them that were big influences on you that really shaped your playing?
When people ask me this question, and I don't say any of my family members, it's not because they're not, but it's because it's so inherent, it's obvious. So yeah, Al, of course, and Dad, of course, for guitar. But I feel like that's a given. When it came to who I discovered on my own, Travis Barker was a really early influence for me, learning how to play everything on Enema of the State. I just think he's a great drummer, really great parts. And then when I discovered Danny Carey, that kind of opened up the world for like how the heck does somebody do this? And so I think early on, those were probably two of the bigger drummers for me, that really opened my eyes up onto what you can do, other than my uncle, obviously.
All right. Well, speaking of your uncle, I saw a really cool thing you did. I think it was online. It was it Drumeo? Yeah, where
Yeah.
you played Van Halen songs on drums. Tell me about that.
Yeah, they asked me if I wanted to do that the day I got there because they did. Also did that thing, the here's for the first time, and they made me play that 5 seconds of summer song. I did that at the same time, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "I haven't played these songs in a very, very long time, but luckily, I think it went well. Or they're just like really good at editing. But I think I think it went really well. It was really fun. I love being able to focus on Al, instead of the constant questions about Dad. It was cool to be able to sit there as a drummer and focus on Al.
Well, yeah, and with all respect to your dad, I mean, I think that if your uncle was in any other band besides Van Halen, he'd rightfully be regarded as one of the great drummers of all time. But
And he still is, but I think
right.
I mean I say that in the video, yeah. So it's very much, it's tough to get the attention of people when you have Eddie Van Halen right up there, and then you have
Right.
David Lee Roth, doing flips or whatever he was doing.
Right, right. Did Alex see you do that? Did he
Oh
comment
yeah,
on?
yeah. He was like, "Good job." He was okay with it. So I think that at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
A bunch of other stuff to ask you, but one last thing on him while we're on the subject of him. Did you read his book?
Yeah, I didn't read the whole thing, but I was. It's just. I think it's funny when it comes to anything Van Halen. It's tough for me to fully interact with. It's still a very emotional thing for me. I know it's kind of funny to hear that hearing "Running with the Devil" could make somebody sad. But and I understand that's people's connection to my dad and Van Halen. But for me, it's like I miss my dad. I can hear the music whenever I want, and that's the tough thing. So I think interacting with that is still a very emotional process that I'm not really ready at any given time to dive into. But yeah, I haven't finished it, but definitely, it's nice to just be able to have Al say his side, and to be able to approach who Dad and Al were as people rather than the icons people hold them up to be.
And speaking of your feelings about your dad and where you're at with that right now, that ties in with this new album because I still love, one of the many reasons why I always ask for physical copies when I'm going to talk to somebody is because I love to read liner notes and thank yous, and I usually get stuff out of that, lyrics and things like that. So as a CD guy, Kevin was nice enough to get me the CD, and I'm looking through it, and I want to read this to people who have not seen this physically, but in the credits here, you write, "Pop, the further that time pulls me away from you, the more difficult and frustrating it gets that I'm not able to share anything with you." And then, miss you and love you and all of that. So that was important for you to say in here that even though it's been 5 years since the world lost your dad, it's still something that as your career progresses, you very much miss being able to share with him.
Yeah, are you kidding me, man? There's so much I wish I could share. He was so proud of what I was already doing. He heard everything from the first record and he was so happy with that. But just to see what just to be able to check in with him and show him like, hey, did you see I opened for Metallica? Isn't that crazy? Like he would have been like, holy crap. So I don't know. When you lose somebody that important to you, you just want to share everything with them, and it just keeps piling up, and it sucks because I'm never able to release that and share it with them. So but some things just sucks. It's life.
Yeah. Yeah. And you end with saying in that statement, I hope you're proud. And I mean, as you said, you got to know he'd be proud because even when he was still with us, he talked about you so glowingly. So it would be amazing to see what's happening now with your career. And then the other thing I loved about the liner notes here and reading them as a guy that's flown the flag for rock for over 40 years is amazing. You end this by saying, something like to the fans, basically, you say, thank you for supporting a rock band in 2025. That's pretty crazy and badass of you. I'm eternally grateful and hope this music makes you feel things. So as a guy who's always like wanting rock to get the proper seat at the table, I love that you wrote that. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Do you find that look, I'm older than you. I've been doing this forever, but my fans come to me all the time and my listeners, and they're like, hey man, some of these older guys and these great bands that we love are ending. Obviously, losing your dad. We just lost Ace Frehley, who was a guitar icon and a close friend of mine. You see some of these bands retiring, farewell tours going away. People are like, where's the next wave of great rock bands going to come from? Who's going to carry that flag? Who's going to be the next arena headliners? Do you not put any pressure on you, Wolf, but do you feel any responsibility or like, man, I'd love to be that guy. Maybe I can be that guy in a few years.
Not really. I mean, I think if it happens, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think times are very different than what they used to be when rock was, the golden child of genres and the success of that. I think nowadays we're inundated. I think when people say rock is dead, it's stupid. We're inundated with so much of everything. It's just a matter of where you look. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, and if people find it important enough to where we end up, being one of those bands that are leading the charge of what rock is in 2025. Then that's cool. And if not, that's cool too. I think it's just I'm going to be over here doing my thing. And if people find any worth in it, thank you.
Yeah, well, I think it's a different time. I mean, you may have caught the tail end of it, but for me, I mean, I say all the time, I think the biggest challenge is that younger people have a different relationship with music than I did when I grew up, where, I grew up working in a record store, and I grew up where people waited in line for the gate to open to buy a record. And when you got that record, you didn't just listen to one song and say, I don't like it, and get rid of it. I spent $15. I'm going to stay with this thing and listen to every track. It's just different. It's just a different way of connecting with music. And I just hope that I believe there are a lot of great new young rock bands out there. As a matter of fact, yesterday I spent the whole show just spotlighting some of them. But I just worry, as you said, younger people have so many distractions and there's such a glut of stuff coming at them. do people have the same feeling, the same relationship, the same connection to music anymore? And that's what I'm concerned about. I don't know if you have any read about that.
No, I mean, I think overall that's just a read of where we are with technology. I think it's, while it's cool, the conveniences that modern technology has allowed us, I think it's spoiled us in ways that we've lost the ability to find value in a lot of things. I think if we weren't so connected all the time, having a thing that you could sit there and just spend time with, like sitting there with a record, was a thing. And nowadays, music is treated like content. Streaming has really ruined that for a lot of people, and it's kind of taken away what is special about sitting there with a record and looking at it, going to a record store and picking a record because you like the cover art, and then realizing you've found something completely new that you wouldn't have found otherwise. So but really it's just a different time, and things happen differently, and maybe we can still find good things. I think it's always important to be open minded and not be gatekeepy, and just try and be a little bit more positive. We could use that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, there's pros and cons to every scenario and every new technology and all of that. One of the things I love about what you do, because I'm adamantly against bands that are not playing truly live, and I know that's important to you, and that's why you have that great band behind you, to do everything live and legit, and I respect and appreciate the hell out of that as a rock fan. But I do want to ask you where you land on AI. You mentioned AI a second ago, and I've got a lot of friends in the music industry who are pretty concerned about what's coming down the pike with this. And a friend of mine who is a musician blew my mind about a month ago, because he asked me, "Hey, what's the name of your radio show?" And I told him. He's like, where do you hear it again?" I told him. And in about 20 minutes, he sent me 3 theme songs for my radio show that had no human on it at all. And it blew my mind, Wolf. Like I'm kind of a little oblivious to how much is going on with this. So from your standpoint, as a younger guy who is embracing some of the new things, but also has some old school values, where do you stand on AI? What are your thoughts about it?
I hate it, and it's stupid.
Really?
I think it's dumb. I think but maybe that's just the curmudgeon in me. I think AI should be putting mufflers on cars and doing menial things that we don't want to do, and letting us be artistic. Because that's
so you're saying, so just to be clear, you're saying that in relation to music, exclusively in relation to music.
No, in everything. I think generative AI is stupid. It's stealing, when it comes with art, with any type of art. I think it's dumb, and I think it just looks dumb, and it's stupid. I don't like it. And maybe that's just I just inherently, I just don't like it. It gives me, even if it can replicate something perfectly, it just wasn't done with artistic intent, and with a human heart who has feelings. And I don't know. It just it's not for me, and I don't plan on employing any type of generative AI in anything I do for as long as I see that.
Well, that's great. And from the arts perspective, yeah, but from the mechanical perspective, like you said, putting a muffler on a car or something, that's not something that, yeah, is.
Well, I mean, AI has, I think that the term has sort of lost the plot a little bit. AI has been a thing forever in terms of, I mean, like in video games, you program artificial intelligence. So, the enemy you're shooting at hides behind cover, so it's just, there's a lot of different meanings. And I think in this whole tech race, it's sort of lost that meaning for what it is specifically. But when I think of what AI and what people are talking about it now is stuff like generative AI, where it just regurgitates. You say, "Hey, I want an AC/DC song," and then it just regurgitates whatever dumb thing. It's stupid.
Right. Well, yeah, totally agree with that. The album is called The End, and obviously it's the name of a song on the record. Tell me about titling the record The End, and also about the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork was done by Moon Patrol. He's a very great artist on Instagram. I've been following for a long time, so being able to use his art that I found while I was recording the record, and I was in the middle of writing lyrics, it resonated with me, and I thought it was an incredible piece of art, and I'm honored to be able to use it by a real artist, who's actually drawing something, and no stupid generative AI. And then I think it just felt like the right time for a titled record. As I was writing the record, I wasn't sure if it was going to be Mammoth 3 or if it was going to be a titled record. And then once we finished the song, that felt like a centerpiece of the record. and writing the lyrics, the through line of just the topics I was just kind of writing about. It just felt like the right time, and also it's almost a meta, commentary on where the band is. We dropped the WVH, we got the copyright for Mammoth. It's the first titled record, so it's if you want to be a poetic douche about it, it's a new direction. So the end is a new beginning, so to speak, in that respect as well.
Is that why the band? Is that why you had WVH under Mammoth initially, because it was a copyright issue?
Yeah, it's a bit like how Ghost was Ghost BC for the first
Right.
couple of years when they were in the States, and then they were around long enough where they're Ghost now, and so we're Mammoth now. No BC.
Right, got you. Speaking of the title track, "The End," you definitely have, and you're anti AI when it comes to the videos too, which I appreciate, because so many videos I see right now are just like you could see some computer just spit them out, and they're just like, come on, you do anything but that, and you really put something into making your videos, which is a lot of fun because I don't think people do that as much as they used to. And the video, you went all out for the video for the song "The End." Tell me about putting that together and working with the people you worked with on it. For people that don't know, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so Robert Rodriguez directed the video, which was really crazy. He had come to a show a couple years ago on the Mammoth 2 tour, and I'm surprised enough to know that he was a fan, and we hit it off, and we kept in touch. And so in the back of my head, I was always like, man, From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite movies of his. It'd be so cool to, like, if he wanted to do a video. And it was just, kind of simmering in the back of my head. And once the end was done, I sent it over, and I was like, dude, would you be at all interested? Like, and he was super stoked, and he ended up writing this script with the idea I gave him. Like his amount of talent being used on making this silly video was crazy. He went over and above, and he called Greg Nicotero, the makeup special effects legend, who he's won Emmys for Walking Dead. And then he called Danny Trejo. And so to be able to act with Danny Trejo being directed by Robert Rodriguez is a fact I can now claim, which is really crazy. But yeah, it just, it all just kind of snowballed into this crazy thing. He called all those people. I called everybody I could. Miles Kennedy came in and got the full Walking Dead makeup treatment with his wife. And I called friends from that I've known since I was a kid. Slash ended up coming by for the day to hang out. And then Robert was like, stand over there. Let's do a quick thing. It took like two minutes. But it was a crazy whirlwind of 2 days. That was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. And looking back on it, I can't believe we actually did it.
And your mom's in it too, right?
Yeah, she was there just hanging out, and Robert was like, "Come over here. You're gonna go punch a zombie, and we're gonna put you in."
Your usage of, or his usage, your usage of Slash, knowing Slash as well as I do, is perfect because
Yeah.
for people who haven't seen the video, he's just leaning against a post and he's unfazed by what's happening.
Yeah, he's just this invincible, omnipotent being that Slash is,
Right. He's enjoying it. Like he's always cool, even if there's zombies eating people. It's like,
Yeah.
this is cool. He's just propped up against the post. I thought that was awesome. And then whose idea was it to do the nod to Michael Jackson Thriller in it?
That was a bit of my idea because I just thought with the zombies, and then I wanted to do that sort of Michael Scott quote joke at the beginning, the whole you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. But I did it with the quote that MJ did, to prove that he's not a Satanist because he was a Jehovah's Witness. And then doing the fun turn at the end, but the Thriller thing. But then yeah, but it was also it was Robert's idea to do the Hot for Teacher nod with the solo with the table walk.
Right.
So it was just a bunch of fun little references and stuff that I just thought it was a good time. It was really fun to make.
Do you enjoy making music videos?
Yeah, I think I enjoy every aspect that surrounds the whole creative thing, with from sequencing the record to the art to the videos. It's just a really fun thing to be able to delve into and explore each side of.
And you're not a bad actor. You want to do some acting at some point?
Maybe, I don't know. I think I did. I did do well in theater in school. I think that was one of the few A's I got. So maybe who knows? Who knows? I have fun in the videos.
Yeah, no, you seem pretty natural in there. I got to work on my buddy Frank. He was a little stiff, but I'll work on him when I see him. It was cool. Everybody had a little chance to say something in there, though. That was great. Hey, man, I won't keep you too much longer, but I did want to ask you about the tour because you're starting tomorrow. We're doing this on the 30th. Starting tomorrow, Halloween. You are starting a headline tour with our buddy Miles Kennedy that you mentioned supporting. So it's going to be a great, great bill. Tell me about the tour. What people can expect.
It's an evolution of what we've been doing before. It's a crazy show that we're bringing now. We've been a performance-based band. We haven't really had much of a show in terms of, lights or anything, but I think when you see videos for it, it's quite the step up. And if you're a fan of just live rock, I don't think you're going to want to miss it. And plus,
And
I mean, Miles Kennedy is going to be there, so at least come for Miles.
hey, he's pretty talented too. I think he'll do a decent set. It's a good warm up act.
Unbelievable, man. It's so fun because it's like we've toured in so many different configurations. We hope him for Alter Bridge and then for Slash. But now to tour with his solo material, which I'm such a huge fan of, is going to be really fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And for you, set list wise, for Mammoth, now you're pulling from 3 records. So now the catalog gets a little bit bigger, a little more expansive to put a set list together. And you've got some songs that people expect you to do already now early in the career. So how have you figured that out as far as what you're going to play and how long you're going to play?
It took a while to find the set because with now this much material, it's almost about what you're not playing. You kind of have to figure out that off the top. But I think we've landed at a really good 90 plus minute set. That's going to be I think our biggest headline set yet. It's I'm very very excited. We've been in deep in rehearsals for the last like 2 weeks, hammering it out, and I think it's going to be really fun.
And the band is so great live, and I know these kind of maybe thought of as a little bit of a relic, although people still do them, and I still really enjoy them. Have you ever given any thought to doing a live album after 3 records?
A little bit, yeah. I would love to have that, to be able to have that out there. I think it means less and less as time goes on, because back then we didn't have YouTube and stuff like that. But it's definitely something I'm interested in doing. I don't know if this time around we have the ability to do that, but I think at some point when marking some sort of huge occasion or something, it would really be worth planning to do because that would be a cool thing.
Yeah, because I ask because back in the 70s they were obviously landmark records and records that broke bands, but also a lot of bands did them after 3 or 4 studio records early in the career to put an official live thing out. And I love them, and I think it's also like for me growing up, it was cool because if I didn't have the band's whole catalog, I could get the live record and get a representation of what they were doing. But like you said, so much has changed. Everybody gets everything online. But a real official document, and because your band is so good live and because it's truly live, I think it would be really cool to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I think personally, I think it would almost be more fun to like do like a live stream type of thing where it's just like us playing through like the record up at the studio or something like professionally filmed, something like that. But yeah, it would be cool to do a show too. There's a lot to think of, but I think right now I'm just trying to build the best live show for the crowd as possible right now. So hopefully that pans out with this one.
Of all the touring you've done with Mammoth to this point, and you're still relatively young in your career, what's been the highlights for you? Can you give me 2 or 3 things in terms of live shows, whether it be the audience or who you are playing with or whatever? Is there 2 or 3 magic moments that stand out for you in the history of the band so far?
Opening up for Metallica for 2 years was pretty crazy, man. I mean, that stage was insane. And we were for 23 and 24, we were the only band to play every building with them on the No Repeat tour. And to mark that occasion, I'm sitting right here with this. They sent me this
Oh wow!
perfect attendance award and with a pic, which just shows you how cool of people they are. They were so
Yes.
wonderful and treated us so kindly, and giving us a perfect attendance award for being at every building with them was very sweet. And they absolutely one of the craziest and most insane tours we were ever a part of as Mammoth.
Yeah, no, I imagine. How long did you get to play? I missed that, but how long did you get to play?
It was like a 35-minute set, but it was, I believe, 26 shows over those 2 years.
Okay, but
Um,
you only got about a half an hour, so you're probably just getting warmed up when you had to end, unfortunately.
yeah, but I don't think anybody wanted to see more of that. They want to see Metallica. So fun audition sort of thing, and you get a couple heads nodding by the end of the set. You know, you made a connection with at least a couple people, and that's always what makes it worth it at the end of the day.
Right, and now people come out to your tour, which starts tomorrow, and is going to be out for a little bit. They see the full deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you is last time you were on, we talked about the Van Halen record that you're on, A Different Kind of Truth. And I had mentioned that I thought it was in some ways an underrated and overlooked record because I think it was a really, really good record that maybe just didn't get the attention and still doesn't that it should. And at that time, I had some callers call in and say, it's not on streaming. It's not on streaming. And you had made your comments about why. And then since apparently it is on streaming, do you know the status of that?
Yeah, I think we were able to work it out because it was its own separate deal outside of everything for that one specific record. So whatever legal mumbo jumbo was happening behind the scenes, I guess the wires were untangled, and now I can listen to it.
Yeah, well, it's good that it's out there because I think it's an album that deserves for people that maybe didn't give it the proper look should because there's really great material on there, and I know it's a record you're proud of as well, right?
Absolutely, I'm very proud of everything I did on that record. It was a lot of fun. Took a while. I think at the end of the day, it was a miracle we were able to even pull it off. But it's a lot of hard work and went into it. So I'm very proud of it.
And lastly, is there anything that fans on? I know that you say this is more in your uncle's world, but is there anything that fans that are Van Halen fans that you know of can look forward to coming down the pike? I mean, there have been reissues. They've started to put out stuff again from the Hagar era. So there's some stuff coming in the pipeline, but do you know of any movement on that you can share with people?
Not personally, and I don't know if it's up for me to be the one to announce these things, given that you're going to hate my answer. That's Al's wheelhouse. I'm very much over here in Mammoth world, and whenever Al needs me to help support him when whatever he's trying to do Van Halen wise, I'm there for him. But otherwise, he's the keeper of that right now.
And is there you've played now, we've seen you play maybe once or twice where you've actually played some Van Halen songs live in certain settings, tributes or what have you. Is there any scenario where you see yourself doing that again, or would that only be in a special occasion like that?
It's got to be something real special.
Yeah.
Real special. Yeah.
And what was it like doing the stuff with Ozzy for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Insane, man. To be requested by Ozzy and Sharon to play the solo for Crazy Train with Maynard from Tool. It sounds like a crazy dream you would have. So to wait to pinch yourself and realize you're not dreaming, and actually have to do something like that was insane. I'm very happy I was able to spend a little bit of time with Ozzy since I wasn't able to do the Back to the Beginning show. It was just great to be able to sit there and talk with him and ask him about stories my dad told me that it was really fun. It was really great. Very lucky to be able to have done that.
Yeah, of course, your dad opened on the first tour for Sabbath. It was funny because after Ozzy passed, I had Michael Anthony on talking about that tour, and he told a funny story about going to Ozzy's house in England. They first got over there, and something crazy like Ozzy answered the door and shot a gun in the sky or something. He just said it was absolutely nuts. I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine being a fly on the wall for that. And your approach to playing Crazy Train, one other thing that just hit me about that. So did your dad ever talk to you at all about Randy Rhoads? Because before you or I really, were on the scene, in any real way, there was always thought to be this almost, they were the two guys from the Sunset Strip, early in the 70s. And it was almost perceived to be almost a rivalry between the two of them. Did your dad ever comment about Randy to you in any way?
Not that I remember anything specifically, but I think always people just love to create competitions that kind of don't really mean anything. Both great guitar players and both have an incredible legacy of amazing riffs and stuff. So I was really happy to be able to do it. It was really crazy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Randy's catalog way too limited. Way too short.
Which shows you how impressive he was to have that lasting legacy of the work he was able to do.
Yeah.
Incredible.
100%. And lastly, on the new record, any more videos coming down the line? Any more singles? You work on anything?
Not right now. I think now is time for it's time for us to get on the road and live on a bus for the next 18 months and play for every single person and maybe some people who aren't there to listen to us and make them listen to us.
Yeah. Well, safe travels out there. I'm going to actually see you in Green Bay, Wisconsin, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because the promoter there is a friend and he's got me there to host that show. So I'll see you there later in November. And you're in Vegas where I am now, but I have to leave, so I won't catch you here. But everybody go and go to the website. Is the website now just mammoth.com?
Mammoth.band. Super fancy.
Mammoth.band. So go there and you can see all the dates. You start tomorrow where on Halloween? You're in Rancho Mirage.
In like Palm Springs on Halloween. Pretty crazy to do a Halloween show. I don't want people to take their Halloween out on us, but if they feel like spending, having a Halloween rock show, go for it. But it's gonna be fun. This tour is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Buy some big bags of candy and just throw them out from the stage and let it be the Mammoth Miles Halloween Bash tomorrow. Just go with that. And Vegas on Saturday at the House of Blues. And then again, just go to mammoth.band for more information. And everybody check out The End. It is out now, the third album from Mammoth. Listen, man, safe travel. Say hi to the guys and I'll see you in Green Bay.
So much, man. I'll see you soon. You take care.
All right. Take care, Wolf.